Bonjour, hello and welcome to a new episode of So French. In this show we give you everything about the twists and turns of French politics and an insight to all things French.
Every 2 weeks we select the best, most interesting and fascinating of French news stories, all brought to you from our studio in the heart of Paris, near the Eiffel Tower. My name is Stefan Vries.
And my name is Sara Bertilsson.
And this week we take a closer look at the French school system, the mother of all institutions in France. And it's also a constant source of friction. So it has to be reformed very often, but how? And first of all, more importantly, can it be reformed?
And we'll also return to the Parisian suburb of Levallois, where the town's mayor is no longer staying in his sumptuous villa, but spending his nights in jail. The saga of the Balkany, a story with a not-so-happy ending, or, well, we'll see. But first, in September, it's la Rentrée. This very particular French notion of how the year starts in September. And, this is something, sort of sidetrack to this, but, every year I'm sort of surprised that people say, oh, let's do it next year. And then I'm like, oh, in January?
Yeah, it's a real ritual. And then a couple of weeks later, now people start asking, how was the rentrée?
Yes.
Did it go well?
So even after you leave school, this idea of the new year starting in September, it actually sticks with people far after
they're traumatized, I think, with September.
Or they want to all go back to school one
that's
day.
also, they may be happy.
That was a sidetrack to what we're going to talk about, because this year it has been a bit of a special rentrée. The school system has been very much making the headlines. It was actually even before the holidays.
Yes,
it ended in a bit of a chaotic way with strikes and protests regarding a new reform plan. Now we're starting a new year with this new reform, or this reformed educational system sort of getting into place.
Yeah. To talk more about the French educational system, we have a special guest in our studio in the heart of Paris.
Very happy. Welcome, Juliette Buisson.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're an English teacher at La Maison d'éducation de la Légion d'honneur.
That's
is
right.
a very long name. It's in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, a very chic suburb to Paris. First of all, just say a little bit, what is La Maison d'éducation de la Légion d'honneur?
Mm-hmm. It is a special school indeed. So it's a state middle school for girls. It's also a boarding school. One of the only state schools in which pupils still wear a uniform.
Oh, I didn't know that there were uniforms.
Yes, there is one, yeah. So I've been teaching in that school for almost 10 years, but I was a teacher in educational priority areas before for around 5 years. So we have hardworking girls, disciplined. I'm pretty lucky because they're very respectful, of course, so it's quite easy to teach in that school.
So the Légion d'honneur, this is the Legion of Honor that's very known here in France, and it's one of the highest honors that you can get. So how come there is a special school? Because these kids have not received the Légion d'honneur.
No, obviously not. But their parents have, or their grandparents. So it's just, it's a state school. So, but it's still some kind of privilege that you get, in your family from,
all the kids member that go to this, the children you had, the girls, are they all from very privileged families? Or what is the...
Well, a lot of them are, but we also have... So we have orphans, okay? Some people, some pupils are not well off at all. It's just because, somebody got that distinction in their family, but,
a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. But still, a lot of them are.
You've been there for 10 years. Yeah. What made you, from the beginning, want to become a teacher?
I've always wanted to be a teacher. I mean, maybe because I had no choice. My parents were teachers as well, so. And well, no, I just love, teaching, learning about new things, and Kids, I've always loved being with kids. So
So it was a natural choice for you to become a
It's
teacher.
quite hard to explain exactly why.
So how did your rentrée go this year?
Well, pretty well compared to many other teachers. So the tricky part in my job actually is just that most of my pupils are terrified of failure. So they start
Very French.
Yes, so it is.
So French.
So it's easy for me, like going back to work, because it's always the same. I'm not stressed anymore. But one of the goals I've set for myself, at the beginning of the year, is just like it consists in shifting the focus on something that is not completely based on success and the notion of like always getting good marks, and because that's what happens at the beginning of the year. My pupils try to show me that they're the best at it, at whatever they.
So you think the marks are less important? Do your pupils understand, or your colleagues? Because of course France has a very competitive system, a very stressful system as well. So how do you implement your vision on education in such a system? Do you talk with your colleagues? Do you have to fight for it?
I don't necessarily fight for it. I just know my colleagues. We've been teaching together for a long time, so you just know the people you can work with, and that's it's kind of natural. So I would say like 50% maybe of the teachers at the Légion, work in the same way. They're interested like I am in learning about new things. So we kind of share our experiences. We try things, and since our pupils are really easy, so disciplined, and they're also happy to test, new things too. So it worked well. We just so for example, we try new techniques like flipped classrooms. Cross-disciplinary work using cognitive sciences, teamwork projects, with projects to carry out with as groups of pupils, and yes, it
works.
Yeah, it works, and it's nice because we have time enough. Like the class, we only have 20 or 24 pupils at most in classes, so we can really do those type of things.
One thing is that's often criticized in the French school system is, well, first of all, the idea, the very hierarchical system, and very, based on a hierarchical idea, and also the fact that it's considered very difficult to make any change to the system in a very old-fashioned way of teaching that exists and it prevails. But what you're explaining is that you seem to be still having the possibility of using new methods and new techniques. The only problem is that we. If you want to get trained for that, it's quite difficult. So you.
It's your own initiative.
You're not not really encouraged. Like, it's time consuming, and when new reforms come up, like this year, for example, the enforcement of those new reforms, it makes our work more difficult, and we feel like there's no gratitude, I completely understand, like, the strikes and everything, because, when angry teachers decided to stop correcting papers, the red pens, stylo rouge, they just wanted to bring their struggle to the public eye, and it worked. And, the feeling of being working in overcrowded classrooms, everyday struggle, being underpaid, and still like you're always tense when.
But isn't there a contradiction though? Because a lot of teachers are talking about the problems in school, but at the same time, every time someone is trying to reform the system, and we do every time we have a new Minister of Education in France, more or less, there is this plan of reform, and every time it fails, and we see these massive protests. Isn't that a contradiction?
It is very difficult because I guess the reforms are too numerous. I mean, there have been so many. And we feel like it is so confusing for us to enforce them. So eventually, the wealthiest pupils just turn to private schools, and so we have very powerful unions. You know that. So the teaching unions, it's very hard for them, to some of them will agree, on some aspects of the reforms and some not. So I think it's difficult to make everybody.
But so you mean that the reform plan is too big and it's too large and it's not enough explained and.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we should consider what teachers have to say before, like they'll just decide things, but they don't work with us, so they don't know what we need, what the pupils need. I think, there should be studies, and even pupils should be asked for, what they really need.
Now, earlier this month, the OECD, the organization of the richest countries in the world, released a report on the status of education in the OECD member states, and it was not very positive on France. Let's talk now to Corinne Heckman. She is an analyst at the education department at the OECD, and she's also the co-author of the report, Education at a Glance. And she's on the line now. Welcome, Ms. Heckman. Yes, one of your findings was that personnel in schools in France earn actually less than in neighboring countries. Please tell us more about that.
So if we look at the statutory salary, it will be, it's often lower compared to the OECD average. But if you look at the average salary, which includes the bonus, then it's above the OECD average, especially for teacher in lycée, what we call in upper secondary level. Nevertheless, at primary level, and this is really an issue, even if it has increased slightly over the last years, the salary of a teacher in primary education is lower than the OECD average. And we know that it's really important to increase, to give more, to increase the salary of teacher at primary level.
Now, we were just talking about the new reforms in the French educational system. Are higher salaries also on the agenda of the French government?
Yes. Yes, it's seen. We know that, for example, there is 2 years ago, they decided to increase the number of teachers in disadvantaged area for students in CP and CE1. So this is a very good sign to take as a priority primary and pre-primary education. So this is the first start. There was also an increase of the teacher salaries, but still it's not enough to fill in the gap, but it's improvement also. So really France has to continue and to spend more money on this level of education, because we know that it's the sources. It's really important to give a quality teaching at this level, and that will improve the outcome of students at a higher level of education.
Well, let's hope that the Minister of Education here listens to your recommendations. Thank you very much, Corinne Heckman, the co-author of the report Education at a Glance by the OECD, which you find on their website, oecd.org. Now back to our guest, Juliette Buisson. Juliette, you're a teacher. Did you hear about the reports and what's your opinion on its findings? Are you really paid that badly?
Yeah, the pay is a big problem. We really want to get more from, and it hasn't changed. Like I've been teaching for 15 years, and still it seems that there's nothing you can get more. So it's quite frustrating when you try to change things to improve the way you teach, and then you get no gratitude.
No.
Do you think that the pay has an effect on the quality of the work that people?
Yes, it does. It has been proven that when, of course, in other countries, if you give more, of course, teachers will work, and we do work a lot.
Much more than other countries. Yeah,
because
more
a lot
hours.
of people, in France, make jokes about teachers.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of criticism in the OECD report, but also in general on the French system. But what are the strengths of the French school, in your opinion, Juliette?
The strengths. So I believe we have a high standard of expectation, which is good too, but because we still believe in the use of acquiring good knowledge of our own culture and literature, history, philosophy. We talked about pupils getting philosophy classes, and I think it's a good thing. But you can't expect a whole class to read Stendhal, or it's even if just because it's a requirement. So the real question is, what do you do with it? What do you? I mean, the only option for me is to adjust to all kind of pupils, to make sure that everybody gets something out of cultural things that we want to teach. I don't believe in lectures anymore.
What do you mean by lectures? Just a professor in front of the pupils and blah, blah, blah? Okay.
And blah, blah. There's a lot of blah, blah in French schools.
And very little interaction, because if you open your mouth as a French pupil, then you're punished. Right?
Yes. That's how it works in some high school. But I believe it could, it can work for some pupils, but only the best will follow, and it doesn't work anymore in middle schools, in standard schools. So
so you mean that the system has failed in adapting to the world the way it is today, with both what is being studied and how it's actually being taught to the pupils,
which is why we're trying to reform the system, but we don't agree on the conditions. So.
What if you really want to make the system better? What should be changed tomorrow if you were the Minister of Education?
Wow. Well, maybe I think a key to that is the way we mark pupils. I don't believe in those I think all participation should be more valued, like it is in the USA. Every teacher should try to group work, with a lot of teamwork. I think is quite important too. So formative assessment instead of summative evaluation. I think the change will come. We are trying to use those kind of evaluation. Because I don't believe it's more effective to have marks from 1 to 20.
Yeah.
Does it?
There are many experts who say that marking isn't useful at all.
No. Yeah. Yes, sure. And I think we should also be more open-minded to new techniques, like using meditation, things that are being used in other countries, and just opening up to new ways of teaching with cognitive sciences and
And do you think that so we're talking about the system might not be ready for it. Are the French parents ready for this? What is your experience with when you are trying these new ideas and new techniques with your students? What is the reaction from the parents?
We don't get a lot of, they believe in the way we teach at the Légion, so they don't really question what we do. what I've seen from students is that sometimes they're just almost shocked, they're a bit surprised. They don't want things like the flipped classroom, for example. It is fun, but at first it is a bit confusing, and they're always asking like, will I get my own mark, or will I get what's that collective mark? They don't. So they need to trust you on that, and so you need to reassure them, explain the system. And,
so the pupils are actually more conservative than the teachers.
Exactly, and I think their parents are not that conservative, because usually when I meet the parents, they believe in it.
Yeah. So what went wrong with these kids?
They are the
we
ones.
We all know that children are conservative.
Well,
Probably
mine not.
so.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Juliette Buisson. You will stay a teacher for another 15 years, live through another 4 or 5 reforms, you think?
Well, I like my job, so yeah, and I don't know what else. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be in the Éducation nationale.
We'll invite you for next time there's a new round
New
of
reform. Yes. Okay.
We'll see where we
Thanks
are then.
a lot.
Thank you so much, Juliette, for coming.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Juliette.
Vous écoutez So French.
You are listening to So French.
And now it's time for our favorite white-collar criminal here in France, and there are many of them, Patrick Balkany.
Maybe the favorite one after all.
Yeah, because he's such a theatrical figure with outbursts of anger, and it's just it's like a character in a novel or in a bad movie. Well, the bad movie is now for him, Patrick Balkany. He has finally been convicted for fraud. We have been talking about him, the Balkanese, and his wife Isabelle previously, but now after a long court case, the first conviction is 4 years. And Patrick Balkany, who was that again, Sarah?
Well, he's a long-time mayor of Levallois-Perret, western suburb of Paris. Rich inhabitants, we should say, wealthy suburb, but I mean a wealth that has also been built on massive debt. Shouldn't forget. But over the years, Balkany has really made Levallois into their own little backyard, maybe we should say.
Little Monaco,
more or less.
Yeah.
Very pretty place.
Yeah, it is very nice indeed.
But this has been done then, according now to courts here in France, by hiding several luxury residences and other assets, and avoiding paying some, and now listen, 4 million euros in taxes.
Yeah, and over a long period of time, and very on purpose. They really, it was like a system. They called it the Système Balkany as well, deliberately. Yes.
Well, yeah, using cash instead of going through normal bank or card payments, etc. So they were literally throwing cash around.
Yeah, and there's this story of Balkany going to a supermarket in a bathrobe dress or like a peignoir, and he pays his groceries with
cash.
With cash, 500 euro notes, which are really rare and usually used by criminals because it's so easy to transport a lot of cash. 500 euro notes he was paying. I don't know what he bought in the local supermarket. So it was known for a while that this family really was not respecting all the rules.
Yeah, so his wife being then the deputy mayor of the town
Isabelle.
as well. Isabelle.
Yeah. She was also involved, and now they were both convicted last week, finally. Balkany got 4 years, and Isabelle got 3 years imprisonment. But that was not really, not shocked many people. A lot of people expected that they would be convicted. But the fact that shocked a lot of people was that the judge ordered the immediate arrests. And that meant that Balkany, as soon as the judge had given his sentence, was sent to the Santé prison, a very famous prison, actually not pretty far from the studio here. So he had to spend the night in jail immediately, and he was taken away from his beloved Isabelle.
And I mean, what can we say? That you described it as a massive low in French journalism, and maybe we can agree on that one, because it is true that the media reporting, especially when it comes to 24-hour news channels and the more sensationalist media, have been up in arms about the treatment of Balkany and describing in detail his first night in prison and then
and his
later
expressions on his face and on the face of Isabelle I think they even said that he caressed the face of Isabelle.
Well, it's his wife after
Yeah,
all.
it's his wife. Yeah, but like
yeah, and then her first visit to the prison, because we should mention then that Isabelle, even though she was also convicted to prison term, she wasn't ordered to go straight to prison.
Yeah, so she was allowed to go back to Levallois-Perret.
Since she then has appealed her sentencing, it is suspended while awaiting the appeals trial, which will take place next year, beginning of next year. And maybe we should, because then there's another twist to this story, which is that even though, so she was convicted to 3 years in prison, 10 years of banned from keeping public office.
Yeah.
Who is now in charge of Levallois-Perret?
Well, this being France, it's Isabelle Balkany, because she's the deputy mayor. And because she has appealed, she just can continue. So she's replacing...
It is as if this judgment never happened.
It's incredible. And it's even worse because in March there are local elections in 2020. So if this appeal is still going on, both Patrick Balkany and Isabelle Balkany, they can be a candidate again. So they can be elected, even though they're convicted criminals of a very serious crime, of course. And you mentioned the media, but Europe 1, the radio station, they had an exclusive interview this week with Isabelle, who was actually all over the place, after her first visit to her husband in prison. And she said, it felt like our first date, she said pathetically. So this is how a lot of French media are covering this story. But this is not the end, no? Even though they appealed for this
no, this is not the end, because there are more levels to this case. The second part of the trial will take place next month, this time regarding the corruption charges. And these charges are considered by the prosecutor as even more serious than the fraud charges. So the prosecutor has asked for a 7-year prison term for Mr. Balkany. So not quite out of the woods yet.
And this will come on top of the 4 years already. So he may spend a very, very long time in prison. Of course, the couple has appealed. So that means it can drag on for many, many years. But at least for now, Patrick Balkany is in prison. What do the people in Levallois-Perret actually think of?
Well, I think that I saw some media reports saying that the Levallois is in shock. But I've spoken to a couple of people who are Levallois people living there, who lived there their whole life. And no, they're not shocked. They expected this. They've been knowing what's been going on in the city hall for decades. And they couldn't just wait to actually open their champagne bottles when the sentencing was announced. So I think that maybe the media drama surrounding this is not quite the whole truth regarding how the people in this town are actually seeing this the new house or the new place of stay for the town's mayor.
There was somebody who expressed his sympathy, though. There was the former president Nicolas Sarkozy, a childhood friend of Patrick Balkany, and he said that he had to support people who are in trouble. So he was, and he knows that probably he may join his childhood friend because he will be on the stand, for a couple of pretty serious cases.
More than a handful.
Than a handful. So maybe Sarkozy will see Balkany again in the Santé prison. But, one can hope. And that wraps up this edition of So French. We hope you have enjoyed it. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and also all the other podcast platforms. We're also on Instagram. Our account is @SoFrenchNews. Please follow us.
And if you like French music, check out our free playlist on Spotify, which we update regularly. Just search for So French Music or click the link on our website. And if you would like to contact us, please mail us on news@sofrench.news.
And you can also listen to us on air on World Radio Paris in the Paris region, but also at the Côte d'Azur in Monaco, Nice and Cannes every Saturday on 2:30 p.m. local time, and then rerun during the week.
We're back in 2 weeks with a new episode of So French.
We hope you'll join us then. Thanks for listening.
Au revoir.